What's going on, guys? Phil here with Custom Offsets TV on the YouTube, and it is time that we get very serious about winter tires. Now, I know a lot of people out here that are watching the videos and the guys that are running all these show trucks, not necessarily everybody wants to have two different sets of tires, or you just don't want to spend the money to own two sets of tires to do with the hassle of switching them back and forth and all that stuff. So I did want to briefly cover, though, a few of the tires that are available on the market that are better suited for winter driving conditions, especially for people like us. We live in Wisconsin, we get a ton of snow. Our friends in Canada deal with the same kind of problems, where a typical all-season tire, if you come from the car world, is not designed to work in lots of snow. They're made for very, very minimal snow. And if you're new to trucks, or you haven't owned one before, or aren't sure anything about truck tires, in the car world, you've basically got UHP tires, which are ultra high performance. You've got all seasons, and then you've got winter tires. And they each have their own things and own characteristics that make them better suited for your needs. Now, in the truck world, you're gonna see all-terrain tires, hybrid tires, and mud tires. And now, basically, none of those are going to be the best in snow, but we do have a couple different options that are really, really decent. So we're kind of gonna cover some of those, because your all-terrain tires a lot of times don't get the look that you're wanting. The hybrid tires are probably your best bet when it comes to snow driving, and then the mud tires, although they work really, really good in the deep off-road stuff, they're just not designed for on-road use with ice and snow, and the tread compound just is too hard for cold driving conditions. So with that, we'll jump into the first one. It's gonna be the Nitto EXO Grappler, which you probably haven't even heard of. So Nitto has a whole lineup of different trail grapplers, ridge grapplers, and then the EXO Grappler, like I'm talking about, is the one, like I said, you probably haven't heard of before. John, who actually works here, ran a set of these on his truck, so we got a chance to kind of drive them around and see what we thought about those. This tire is actually constructed very, very similar to what you'd find on a hybrid tire, where it has a 4-block tread design. Hybrid tires and mud tires, most of them kind of follow that particular rule. And these are made in sizes that range from 17-inch diameter all up to 20-inch diameter. So if you've got something bigger than that, these aren't going to be the tires for you, but we'll kind of expand on that a little bit later. Also, it's going to be a load E tire, or 10-ply rated tire, so if you're doing any sort of towing, these are probably going to be just fine for you. They'll definitely handle any kind of weight that you're going to throw at them. What makes these tires better suited for the snow is just the rubber compound that they're using. It's a bit softer, so you have to keep that in mind. You could burn through these faster if you drive on them all summer, but with all of these tires, they are 3 Peak Mountain Snowflake rated, which is a real thing. I know a couple of people thought that was kind of a joke, but in some states, and I believe in Canada, where you're required to have winter tires, you must have something that has the 3 Peak Mountain Snowflake rating. So, like I was talking about just a couple seconds ago, because it's a softer compound, you can possibly burn through these a little bit faster. John ran them in dry conditions just fine. We didn't see any sort of abnormal wear, and a lot of that is due to the kind of staggered tread blocks that they have on the side of these. They actually use computers to kind of generate what kind of angles they're going to put them at. It's called variable tread pitch, and they do that not only to have better wear, but also to decrease the noise that you're going to hear when you're driving down the road on these tires. With the EXO Grappler, it is important to note that the largest size you can get is actually up to a 37 by 12.5. So if you do have a lifted vehicle, you can still run these on that application. They do also come pre-drilled for studs, so if you live in a state that allows those and you want to run studs in your tires, you definitely can. We can't here in Wisconsin, but I know other places do allow you to run studs, so keep that in mind. And then for size comparison between all these tires and the prices, because that's what everybody wants to know, I used roughly a 285 or 295 55 R20, and for the EXO Grappler, it's going to come in just over $1,300 for the set of 4, and that does include free shipping right to your house. The sister company to Nitto that you probably do know, because I've mentioned it a couple times now, is Toil, and Toil also offers a tire that is designed for winter and all-weather driving conditions. That's called the Toil Open Country CT. There are a few more sizes available for the Open Country CT. They step all the way down to 16-inch and then go up to 20-inch. So again, not crazy compared to the last one, but you do get the option for 16-inch wheels if you're that person who still somehow runs 16-inch wheels. I think everybody's pretty much moved on to 17, even the off-road sizes, 18, 20, 22s, and so on for other vehicles out there. These two are going to be just like the EXO Grapplers. They're 10-ply. That's low range E, so if you're doing any sort of towing, you'll be just fine. Where these differ from the EXO Grappler is primarily in the price and then in the siping. So they're a little bit more expensive at $1,500 bucks. And then you'll also see that the siping on here is not quite as elongated as it is on the EXO Grappler. It's more shorter, jagged cut lines, which still do a good job of allowing you to accelerate and brake in the snow just fine. One of the terms that you're gonna hear me keep saying throughout the video is siping, and when I'm referring to that, it's the small little cuts in the tread blocks, and they're actually designed to pick up snow. Whereas a lot of times people think you want to keep your tread empty of snow, which is true. That main tread you want to evacuate snow from, but what those do is they actually pick up the snow, because snow on snow contact actually gives you a pretty decent amount of grip, which a lot of people I think that are especially new to snow tires don't understand. And in the truck world, even if you have four-wheel drive, everybody likes to remind you that you don't necessarily have four-wheel stop. And all this little siping in here is actually what's gonna help you stop better and have better turning as well. So your wheels can only do one thing at a time, whether that be turn, accelerate, or brake, but you can't do them all at the same time. So if you wanna keep the most amount of grip, you're gonna pick up some of that snow, stick it in the siping, it's gonna grip to the other snow, and I know it sounds like it can't be true, but it really is. I've been driving on snow tires for the last probably 5 years, and honestly, once you start using tires designed for snow, you'll never go back. So next on the list is the Goodyear Wrangler DuraTrack, and now this is a tire that I've actually had a ton of different experience with. This past winter and the season before that, ran these on a few friends' vehicles, took them up to do a whole bunch of different off-roading situations, and I've driven them plenty of times on the street. And I think it's probably right up there as one of my favorite tires for all weather conditions. So this tire is actually classified as an all-terrain tire, even though I think based on the tread separation and how large the tread blocks are, it looks more similar to a mud tire or a hybrid. It's not quite that mud tire level, but it does have very, very deep tread, which unfortunately makes it a bit loud in some cases, but I think the trade-off you get for the amount of traction you have makes that all worth it. These also, like the previous two tires, are 3-peak mountain snowflake rated. In fact, all of the tires that we're going to talk about are. So if you live in an area which requires that, now you know. So for 17-inch wheels, you can actually get 35 by 12.5-inch Wrangler DuraTracks, but if you've got the 20s, the largest size you can get is actually a 305/55. So keep that in mind when you're shopping for these tires, is that a lot of times they don't make these all-weather or these winter tires in some of the really, really big sizes, because primarily, I think, for the most part, the guys that have the massive show builds are just gonna probably stick with the mud tires and just rock those for the winter and cross their fingers. The DuraTrack actually has a lot of technology packed into it. They include a couple of really nice features, like they have all these little ridges that are actually inside, I'm gonna call it the tread wells, it's the space in between the tread blocks on like the flat surface of the tire. There's actually thousands of little grooves and cuts that add all this extra traction when you're in the really, really deep stuff. When that tread is completely buried, these things are actually gonna help you keep moving forward. They also have a reinforced sidewall, so you don't have to worry as much if you're actually going to use these in some sort of off-road situation about blowing your sidewall out or sliding into a rock and pushing it off the bead. They also do include a little extra strip of rubber around on the sidewall that acts as a rim protector too. So there's a lot of cool things stuffed into this tire that make it one of my favorites, but at the same time you do pay a little bit more for it, since they are just over $1,700 for the set of 4 in roughly that, I think I looked at 285/55 or 295/60, roughly that size range. The last one on the list for me is the Falcon Wild Peak AT3W, and this is another tire that I've spent a ton of time driving on. And again, this is going to be available anywhere from the 15-inch tires all the way up to 20-inch, so decent size range there, but nothing too huge again. The largest size that they offer is a 37 by 12.5, so if you do have a big lifted application, you can still run these on there. I would definitely recommend it. And the coolest part about this tire is actually the price point. So for those 37s, you're only paying like $1,400, which is absolutely insane for 37s. You're not gonna get this good of a quality tire at that price point for any other 37-inch tire on the market. This one is also considered an all-terrain, but just like the Wrangler DuraTrack, I think it's a bit more aggressive than what I would classify as an all-terrain. There's tons of siping on here, plenty of space between the tread blocks that you do have enough room for water ejection, stone ejection, throwing out all the snow that you don't want in the center blocks of the tire that you do just want to keep in the siping. This tire is actually the only tire in this list that doesn't come pre-drilled for studs. So if you have your heart set on running studded tires, this one's not going to be the option for you. I personally have never ran them because in Wisconsin, they're actually illegal to run studded tires on the road. So we don't get the opportunity to do that. To keep the price point comparison fair, back to the 285, 55, 20 sizes, you're actually looking at under $1,200 for the set of 4 of these. So I think that's pretty insane considering the quality that you do get out of these tires. And like I said, I've had plenty of experience driving on these things and have yet to be let down by them. So if you want to check out these 4 tires or any of the other ones, we got them all on the website. We'll put all the links in the description below for you. Otherwise, you can check out customoffsets.com. Peace.